Everyone to today's session. In case we are meeting for the first time, I'm Babajide Ojo, and if you can just maybe give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, that would be great. All right. Okay. All right, so if we are meeting for the first time, I'm Babajide Ojo. You can call me Jide or Bestman, whatever works fine for you. And today we are going to get this series of sessions started. I'm very excited for this. In the past, we have always had just a few people attend these sessions, but this year we thought we should open it up to everyone, especially now that we kind of know what we are doing very well, and we have methods to make things more effective for everyone, or efficient for everyone. So welcome. Today's session will be co-hosted by two outstanding students. They are going to introduce themselves soon, but this session is about funding strategies and lessons from the past 4 years. And I named this session with that title because we started this platform in about 4 years ago. So having worked with students for the past 4 years, I think I have quite some knowledge about how things work, what have worked for people and what did not work, and what has made some people very competitive candidates. So we are going to share some of those tips today. We are going to try to go beyond the normal, requirements, which I think, you guys already know. If you don't, please, we might not be able to cover details during our talks, but if you have any questions, we would have more than enough time to answer all your questions, hopefully. So we are going to start things up by asking everyone to be muted, and please, the co-hosts, I don't know if you have the permission, but if you can help admit people in the waiting room, that would be great. Just in case I get distracted. All right. So today we are going to talk more about, how to be competitive, go beyond the normal requirements and be competitive for top positions in very good schools. And for this platform, always I recommend that, your target should be good schools, which we usually call R1 universities, research intensive universities. You can Google that, or you can ask questions if you don't know what that means. But those are institutions that have more research funds. Those are the places where you will get more funding. So if you are not familiar with the basics, we have a free course on our platform, bestmanacademy.com. So please check out that free course, okay? So we are going to go in order, introduce ourselves. I think I already introduced myself, so I will let the other co-hosts introduce themselves. So Shola, can you start? Let's introduce yourself to the next person.
Can I go first?
Yes, please.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I had issues with my laptop. The cam was not coming up, so I had to use my phone now.
Oh.
So, hello everybody. My name is Olushola Olagoju, and I'm a research scientist from Federal Research Institute in Nigeria, and I have masters in food science. So my first application whole thing was in 2021 and it was a total failure. At first, I had no idea about, even though I had masters, I didn't know if I was supposed to apply for masters first or for PhD because it was US. So I wasn't even sure of my qualification of what I should do in short. So I applied to a couple of schools, about 5 of them, some with masters, some with PhD. And I even got interviewed by 2 of them, and they all rejected me, stating that my research experience do not match with their current projects, and so they could not take me in. And that was why I couldn't get into national. So luckily for me, I got selected as part of the mentorship program of the best academy in the early 2022. And so that was how from a various series of meetings, I now discovered that you having CGPA of 3.5, 3.0, all of those things are not really good enough. I might not even get you. Some are very lucky that I have had a couple of my brother's friends that they just finished university in agriculture or something. They have 3.0 and they applied for some people apply for 2 schools alone, some won and they got in. So some of us have to put in the extra work to have extra skills to actually get in. And that was why the first meeting told us that some of us have to go to the extra lane to actually secure this admission. And so that was what I did. I started learning. I thought about what could I do? What extra things can I do? So I started learning.
Before we go there, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk about what you did, but I want him to meet Joshua before we now start with that.
Okay? All right. Thank you.
All right, Joshua, can you please introduce yourself real quick?
Thank you very much, sir. And good afternoon, good morning, everyone, depending on where you are. My name is Joshua Lolaju. I'm a 3rd-year PhD student, University of Nevada, Reno. I'm studying electrical engineering, and my research is on electrical power systems, operation and control. Yeah, currently I'm in Arizona interning with Freeport for this summer as an electrical engineer. Yeah, thank you.
Interning, making money.
Well, Josh.
Sorry?
Yeah. I think she said welcome. I think I'm even familiar with her also. Yeah.
I'm sure you guys know. So. All right. So I'm glad to have you guys here today. So yeah, going back to Shola now. So you talked about your challenges, and now that you have a position. So can you now start breaking down what you did?
Okay, someone actually said they cannot hear. So maybe you should log in and log in back.
But yeah, I think.
Yes.
You mean you can't hear me?
No, okay. Someone wrote
okay.
on the chat that they cannot hear us.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let me continue with what I was saying.
Yes.
So when I could not get into 2021, I knew I had to do something different. Dr. Ojo told us we have to do something different. So I started learning data analysis. From there, I expanded to learning machine learning models. So I didn't even know I was going to use it, if it was going to help me in any way. But I applied to about 5 skills also too. But one thing I would like to say, I don't know if it's too early, is please, people out there, if you want to apply, don't just focus on school with application fee waiver. I think sometimes the competition gets too tight and might not really get you anywhere. So I applied to some schools. I think 4 of them were paid for. And I forgot to mention earlier before that. Please, sorry, I have a kid. I was always worrying about.
No problem.
So earlier, in October, before the December application, there was a professor that had already promised me that he's going to have a grant, but he's going to move to another school. So I kept in touch with that person. So please, if someone tells you that message me in the next 6 months, don't shy away. Still try to maybe start the message so that you can remember when for that next time. So that was what I did. So I applied to that school. But the unfortunate thing happened. Sorry, go and meet Daddy. So the unfortunate thing happened that time, which was I did not have voice evaluation. So another thing again, please do everything that doable. IELTS, GRE, don't let that small thing cost you the opportunity. So, which I believe it actually cost me the opportunity for that school. I didn't have voice evaluation at that point in time. So I was now told, oh, I could not proceed my application. They have to move my application for that for full application, which they did. But the thing why I said it was unfortunate was, I think the professor needed students at that point in time. So he had to, probably contacted other students and he got it. So, but he didn't tell me all this. I knew he had grants. So when I was not given admission in February, he now went back on his word stating that, oh, he didn't have grants. But after I Googled him, I knew he had grants and he had already gotten students. So that was what happened. But I was just lucky, like I had let's say I didn't just put all my eggs in one basket, just applying to that because I already secured the position with that professor. So I applied to other schools in for application. But there was this particular school, I felt like I was underqualified. The only thing I thought I knew about that school, about the project the professor was working on, was the machine learning part. So I kept talking to Dr. Ojo that this project, even though I could do the machine learning part, the work is more of chemistry than food because I major in food science. But Dr. Ojo said that sometimes it's impossible for a professor to meet or to see all the things he's looking for in a particular applicant. So why not just apply and put it up to God? Maybe you'll be lucky, maybe so. But I just feel like, what if I don't want to waste my money? Or like this is a lot of I done waste evaluation, applied to about 4 schools already, GRE, sending transcript and everything. So eventually I applied to the school. But it didn't just stop there. If I had stopped there, maybe I would have gotten it again. So after I applied, the professor told me he was going to set an interview for me. Sorry, we didn't meet that, please. So he said there was going to be an interview session. I waited till February. He didn't send me any mail. I was like, okay. I took a step further to remind him, oh, you told me there was going to be a meeting. He also was, oh yeah, I forgot. So immediately we said that interview and he was very focused on the machine learning model. He was like, can you do this? Can send me your script. There was even a publication I was working at that point in time. I was very skeptical, like, what if this man steals my work? So but my Dr. Joe was like, no, you wouldn't do such, that it would be very unethical of him to steal my work. So I didn't just stop by applying. I just kept pushing, asking the professor, what's the next thing? So after the interview, we went back again. I didn't hear from him again. And just kept messaging. It was like, oh, the whole thing is with the graduate school and everything. So, well, alhamdulillah, after February, I think it was in April, I got the admission. And that was just my lucky bit. That was the only one I got. After that February, what I got, and the man said there was no grants at that point in time because I felt like I already got another student. So that was how I got in because of that extra skill, that extra effort that I put in. That was I got the position right now. So I'll be starting my new position by next month, inshallah. Thank you.
Great, congratulations. So before we go to Josh, so I intentionally designed this to bring people that have passed through this process in different years. So we have different lengths of experience with this, but she has a unique story. I'm going to summarize everything at the end, give you some things to write down, if you will. But before we go there, let's go to Josh and see what Josh has for us. All right, Josh, can you please unmute?
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. So basically, I just want to stress that what Olushola has said, those things are very, very valid. The number one thing or one key thing that she pointed out is you need to improve on yourself and you need to sell yourself. I mean, she was able to learn machine learning along the line, and that was what gave her the edge. So I even already noted it down here that if there are any programming skills you can learn, I mean, it's very key now because most of the things that you see now, they are all based on machine learning, AI, deep learning, all those kind of things. So even if it's data analysis you can start with, please just start with that. I mean, analyzing data, giving reports, representation on data, it's very key. So if you can learn those skills, they'll be very good. Also, another thing you want to look at is, I would say, have like a presentation slide that you can always use to introduce yourself. When a professor says, okay, let's meet, don't just come and you are just talking offhand or something. No, prepare slides, I mean, your background, what you have done, and what you are doing and what you intend to do, and also how it fits into what the professor is doing. That way the professor will know that, yes, you are really prepared. And when he can see, because at times in the first meeting, even communication might be a barrier. They might not even hear what you are saying fluently. But if they can read it on the screen, they will be able to even pay attention more and everything. So it helps a lot. Another one that I will say is you should also try to reach out to students in the lab that the professor is in or something. Because at times you are focusing on one professor, but when you reach out to students in that lab, they can also direct you to other professors that are looking for students actually. You might not, I mean, the professor you are focusing on might not necessarily have the bandwidth to accommodate more students, and it might not even be the best professor to work with. But when you are able to reach out to other students in the lab, I mean, especially if you are able to see Nigerian students, if you are from Nigeria, I mean, that way it's even better because they'll be able to tell you that, oh, don't focus on this person, reach out to this person, this is what this person is doing, and yeah, you'll be able to get that opportunity. Also, don't sell yourself short in any way. You might feel like, oh, I'm not the best or something. Don't present yourself as an average student. No. To a professor, don't present yourself as an average student. Present yourself as the best student. Let the professor be the one to do the evaluation himself. So when you are introducing yourself to a professor, I mean, don't be shy of using the word I, even to explain what you have done, even if it's a collaborated project. I did this, I worked on this, I mean, with some other people. I was the one that conducted this research, this analysis. I carried out this experiment, even when you know that it was a collaborative work, but don't be scared of using the word I. You need to stress on what you can do. I mean, and that's what the professor will be able to use to evaluate yourself. I mean, evaluate you. Also, another thing is make sure you have your credentials ready because opportunities can come at any time. Your GRE, IELTS, if you are writing IELTS, if you are writing TOEFL, just get them ready because professors are always looking for students. That is what I normally say. Even if they can't admit you now, when they have the bandwidth to admit you, they might still reach out to you if you are a good student. So just make sure that your credentials are ready. I mean, you don't want it to be the case that they say, oh, present your transcript or present your certificate or something, and you don't have all those things at hand. It will be very, very bad. So I think those are the things I've added down. Also, lastly, we also want to stress maybe a little bit about teaching also, because a lot of times teaching is always a stress for professors. So when they see students that have that ability to teach, they will want to also accommodate you so that you can assist them if they are taking some classes, you can assist them with the grading. So you can stress that you have some experience with teaching and you are ready to take up those positions. So yeah, thank you.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for those good points. So let's see, there are some people in the waiting room. So the new people came at the right at a good time. So we are going to take questions soon. But before we go there, let me just try and summarize everything they've said and maybe more. So I wrote some things down that you should try to do. This is the first session. So the hope with this session is you would learn some things that you would improve on between now and December, when applications will be due for many schools. So you still have time to fix some of these things that we are talking about here. So funding strategies. First, most people should know by now that we have different types of funding, right? We have the research assistantship, which I think the co-hosts today are really stressing in terms of how to, position yourself for that kind of opportunity. We have teaching assistantships as well, which is more about teaching. And there are some administrative positions as well, but those are very few to say the least. So most of the funding you are going to target will likely be research assistantships, which will be mostly through professors' research or teaching assistantships. Now, so how do you set yourself up to be more competitive for these positions? So Callistus has no audio. I think it's at your end, but I think most people can hear me. Right?
Yes, I can hear you from here, sir.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure. Yeah, I think it has to be your computer. All right. So let's continue. Hopefully, we'll post this some other time, and we can. You should be able to watch the whole thing again if you want. So first thing I'm going to talk about is WES evaluations. Now, you don't need WES evaluations, so I'm not trying to get you to do WES evaluations. I know they are expensive, and I know cost is a real thing. But if you have the means, it really, really, really helps. That's my experience in this past 4 years. Because most of the time, some of these professors or some schools cannot really evaluate our transcripts as well as they should. So when you do that evaluation, I think that there is another agency that does evaluation, so it doesn't have to be WES. So they convert your transcript to US standard. So for the most part, what I usually see is for people, and this is very important for people that have maybe sort of a low GPA. If you are from Nigeria or Africa, if you are like second class, upper, lower, sometimes when they do those evaluations, your GPA can now be in the realm of 3.0, between 3.0 and 4. But if you just submit your transcript like that, let's say you have 3.4 out of 5, right? It will be hard for them to see if you met the requirements or not. Of course, there are ways they can do that, but if they have other candidates that have done this work for them, they are not going to stress on your own transcript and try to think, what does this GPA mean? Okay, so my duty today is to just tell you what has worked for a lot of people. So absolutely, you don't need WES evaluations, but if you have the means, please do it. Now, one of the things that I do recommend for people in our group in the past is to do the free evaluations. If you go to WES website, you can do this free. You can do a crude evaluation, which we estimate what your GPA is in US standard. So what you will now do when you have that evaluation is to download that report, that free one. I know it's crude, but you can print, let's say you print and save it as PDF. And when you submit your application, when you are applying on the website, you can upload these documents, even though they did not ask you, right? Let's say they did not even ask for WES evaluation, and you don't have the money to do the official one. So do this free one, download it as PDF, and upload it on the online application system for the school. as other documents or something. I think there are usually opportunities to upload other documents. So that's one of the, when they click it, they will see that, okay, you did some crude GPA evaluation. So at least you put some effort in to make them understand. Now, if they need the official one, they can contact you and say, hey, you know, can you please provide the official one? And if they don't need it, they will just use that. But if this is a school that requires West evaluation, they are talking about the official evaluation that you're going to pay for. So this is just for schools that probably don't require that. So you want to help them understand your GPA better. But if you have a first class, I mean, they would probably know what that means. Let's say you have a 3 points. I mean, I said 3 points. Maybe you have a 4.7 out of 5. They will probably know that this is a good GPA. But still, if you can still do this crude evaluation, the free one, just upload it along with other documents. So that has worked for people in the past. The other points that I have is that, yes, exams still help, okay? I know, and I'm saying all this, I understand the, costs, requirements and everything, but really, the truth is exams help. If you have your TOEFL or GRE, depending on your field though, if they require it, if they say, I used to say, if you see the word, what do they use? Optional. So if they say it's optional, it's probably going to be helpful to submit, a score. Submit a score, and people without a score will probably get dinged for that. So exams still help. It gives you the opportunity to apply to a lot more, to more schools, to be more competitive at more places. Now, if you don't have exams, it's possible to get in without any exams. That means your other requirements, your GPA, you have a lot of other practical experiences, that could help you. But if you don't have, you are maybe straight out of university and you don't have a lot of experience, and let's say you're in STEM, where they would require you to do a lot of lab work, you don't have a lot of that experience, you would need them to teach you a lot of things when you get here, then some of the things you can use to really improve your chances are these exams. And I want to mention, I know that there is a lot of talk around English exams. I just want to mention that though I personally don't like the fact that we have to submit English exams, but the truth is at this point in time, in most places, this English exam is used to determine your fit for teaching assistantships. Okay, I don't know if Joshua has experienced this too, but I know in my school and for most people, before you can get a teaching assistantship, they would want you to submit a TOEFL or IELTS score. Now, if you don't have that, for example, my school will require you to take an English course, on campus before. So that's like a semester of classes that you will pay for. Okay, so you will eventually pay for it, and you might not be funded at the time you are taking the class. So if it's possible to do an English test, please do it. I think the cheaper alternative now is Duolingo. So even if they ask for TOEFL and let's say they do not require GRE and they ask for TOEFL and you don't have money, you can contact them and say, hey, is it possible to, submit an alternative like Duolingo? And if, most departments will accept that. They just want to confirm that you can speak, you can explain yourself in English. You can be clear enough in English so that when they put you in front of students, you know how to communicate. All right, so we've talked about West evaluations and how exams may still help for some of this funding. Now, I think at this point, most people should know that there is usually more funding for PhD positions than master's positions. Now, some master's positions might be funded, but it's now rare. But I think our last session with Babatunde talked about loan options. You can get a loan when you get into the country. What I found in the past years is that for most students that come in, let's say you're coming with a loan, you have to strategize on how you will now be competitive for funding when you get to campus. And most people get funded, after their first semester. So if you do well in your class, any available funds within the department will likely be given to you before they give that out to someone new from abroad or from outside the school. So they always try to take care of current students first before giving someone new the funding. So if you can get yourself here with a loan or your personal funds for the first semester, that works. That's how Babatunde, that was how I did mine. I didn't have funding when I initially got here because I didn't know how to get them. So, but as soon as I got on campus, after like 3 weeks, I was funded. And partly because I came for a master's as well. So in order to get yourself some of these opportunities before you even start your program, it's important to attend this session and learn what other people have been doing. All right, the next point that I have is when you reach out to professors, okay, have it at the back of your mind that this is going to be a long process. It's not going to be easy. Because I think I find that most people get frustrated after like the first 5 emails they send out and they don't get any response. So when I ask them how many emails have you sent, and they I've sent like 6 professors. Just 6. So you prepare to send as many emails as possible and make sure you tailor each emails to professors. Don't just send generic emails. So prepare that this process, have this knowledge that this process will be very tough. It's going to be tough, but it's possible. Okay. So if you are going through the research assistantship route, you will have to reach out to professors in most schools, not all schools. So it may take longer to get a positive response. And really because there is a lot more demand now for professors' time and emails from students. So they might not even get to your email. They might not open it. So even if you don't get a reply after a few days, it's okay to. So I think I'm saying Shala's chat. So she sent to more than 30 schools. So it's going to be a long process, But don't be discouraged. So always remember that it's going to be tough, but you are going to get that one opportunity. And just to piggyback on Shala's point, a game plan surrounding application fee waivers have a higher chance of failure. Okay, I'm going to read that again. A game plan surrounding application fee waivers have a higher chance of failure. So one of the advantages that we have is, for the past 4 years, I've seen students do this, and I just, I tallied the data, and what I have here is that when students apply, international students now, when they apply to schools with application fee waiver, there is an 84% chance that they won't be admitted. Okay, so the success rate there is around 16% for people that were admitted. And for some of these 16%, they were not even funded. Okay, just admitted. So I know, of course, if you're going to apply to multiple schools, again, cost money. but my duty here is to tell you, how it is, tell you the truth. So, so our data shows that there is a 16% chance of success if you only apply to schools that will give you application fee waivers. Just because of, it's not because you are not good enough. Please, let me stress that. It's not because you are not good enough, it's because of the sheer number of applications that they get. And I know most people on this platform will be international students. Most good programs, if they have a lot of domestic students that are interested, so it depends on the field as well. Fields like economics or I think psychology or something. They have a lot of domestic students that are interested. So you as an international student, you have a less chance of success in that environment. It's just the truth. So for international students, in most cases, they just admit a few students. And places like, where I am, Stanford, they probably admit just 1 or 2 international students, in each program. So it depends on the number of applications they get overall and the number of available positions. But if you are only choosing schools with app fee waivers, our data suggests that there is an 16% chance of you not getting admitted at all or funded. Now, so what should you do in this case? I'm not saying you should not apply to schools with application fee waivers. No. I mean, it costs nothing to apply, right? So just apply, but don't surround your whole game plan with this sort of schools, okay? Most people are more successful when they do that work, and you can find these gems. Like I know University of Nevada, Reno or Las Vegas, they schools like that you probably not see them online, right? They will not be talking about application fee waivers. Let's come for this session. Let's talk about the departments. When you start seeing stuff like that, when you start seeing schools that are having these online sessions, and just know that they are going to receive tons of applications. Okay, but there are some schools, some schools in Oklahoma, in Iowa, schools like that you will probably not see online, but they have funding and they will be willing to admit students. So I think Shola eventually got somewhere. It's not going to be a popular like Harvard or the Stanford, but schools in Kansas, a lot of schools are over 1,000 schools in the US. Why are you focused on those maybe 15, 20 schools that are online? So I find that most people that do this are they are people that don't just do enough research about what they really want and where they can get it. So it's easy because you're online. It's easy to just focus on schools that are online. So please don't let that be your game plan this year. Now we are going to talk about, so the next sessions will really go into some of the key requirements and we'll talk in depth, about these things. But I just want to mention something about CVs. Okay. I know there are a lot of information flying out there. This CV is great. This CV format is great. The format is not the most important thing. It's the content. Okay. It's not. I know, of course, you have to sell what you did, but think about it this way: if there is no measurable outcome, it did not happen. That's usually how it is. So it's not just about saying, the past 6 years you've been doing research, you've done XYZ, you did this with this professor and that, but there is no output, nothing to show for it. Then it did not happen. They will look at other people that are probably productive with whatever they said they are doing. Now, for example, in Shola's case, so what she did was she started learning this, I can't remember, was it Python or some data analysis programming tool.
Machine learning tools.
Right. So, and she opened a GitHub account and she started depositing her projects in this account. So it's easy to share that link in your CV. When you explain what you've been doing, you can share that link in your CV. Trust me, they look at these things, they will click that link and see what's this person doing. And when they see those projects, it will be, they would know that you have the practical tools to be successful if we admit this person. So it's not just about the formats, whatever format you use doesn't really matter. But if you say you have the skills to do this, you have done this in the past, start thinking about how you can show, not just tell, how you can show them that you have these competitive skills. So for some people, I think I made an example in the online course where someone actually recorded a video of him teaching. Okay, so he has his teaching skills and he recorded a video of him teaching, and he put that link somewhere on his CV and in his SOP, just to show that I have this skill. Now, if you don't know how to teach, if you're not good at it and you show evidence, it might even work against you. So please, this has to be something you are good at. So those are some of the extra things you can start thinking about. How do you show? How can you show? Not write. I'm not talking about write or tell now. How can you show in your CV that you have whatever experience that you think is needed in your field? So like Shola said, it could be bioinformatics for people in the sciences, for people in education. Most of your funding there will probably surround you, presenting or teaching or, going to for people that have field work. How can you show that you have this experience? I remember an example as well of one of our students in the past. I think he's in agriculture, somewhere in crop science or so. So he actually went on this training session. So he was training maybe he worked with an NGO where they were training farmers, local farmers, how to do some unique planting. And he took pictures of, him describing all this stuff. He took a lot of pictures, put it in a Google Drive, and used that as evidence that, I can actually handle field trips and training other people. So that that encouraged his professor, and is now somewhere in I think in St. Louis or something. He's going to appear in during one of our sessions later in the year. So again, to summarize, it did not happen if you have no way to show it, because there are just a lot of students with good CVs right now. I mean, when I say good CVs, well-written CVs, but no evidence. So please try to think about how you can show that. For some people as well, what has really helped in some cases, we have a significant advantage for those coming from Africa. I know we mostly do this, and I know some Asian students also do this. We usually do this final year project, right? Final year project. And that's a significant advantage over even undergrads here. Not every one of them have to do, in fact, very few of them have to go through this final year project. We call them honors students here. So not everyone is interested in that honors route. So only the honors students tend to care about research. So in our own case, in your own case, you've gone through research. If you've actually done the work, that's a significant advantage. And if you have written a final year project, you have a thesis, you can upload this. There are a lot of pre-printing websites right now. So what I do advise sometimes is to if your advisor would not mind, you have to check with your supervisor anyway. So if they don't have any plans to still publish this, I mean, even if they still want to publish it, it's a preprint, right? So you can put it, you can upload it on this pre-printing service. I think for the, I only know for STEM, I think one of the key ones are bio. Let me share the link in the chat. So for people in biology or STEM related fields, right? So one of the, oops, sorry, I think I sent it to the wrong person. Not wrong person, but I wanted to send it to everyone. All right. So BioReaps, I don't even know how to pronounce that. So you can upload your thesis on one of these websites and give it a title, and that could count as some sort of publication. It's not peer-reviewed. You clearly state that this is a preprint in your CV. So that's an evidence that you've gone through this project and you have a written document that people can click and just see, what you did. So instead of, omitting that section of publications, you can do that. So this website will actually generate some sort of citation. So it will generate something that can be cited. But it will clearly state that this has not been peer reviewed. So anybody that the only danger there is if you still want to publish, you want to publish as soon as possible, right? Because if it's a unique idea, someone might steal it, work on it, and publish it themselves. So and publish some of it. If it's exactly the same thing you uploaded, you have evidence to probably fight that. So that's an option to record publications, to be able to say, okay, I've actually worked on a project, and people can easily find the texts of your project. All right, so I think I'm going to stop there. I know we would have some questions. I think the last thing is, what Joshua said, reach out to students. If you can reach out to students in the school, you don't have to find Nigerians in the school, but if you can reach out to students, they might be able to tell you who has funding or not, or who is accepting students, or who you should not, apply to. Especially, this is important when, let's say, you already received multiple offers, and you're trying to decide. So it's important you reach out to students, and you can also reach out to students if you have a particular school you're interested in. You can reach out to students there to get, to pick their brains about, professors to contact. So that helps sometimes as well. All right, that's all I have. And I think if the co-hosts have nothing to add, start taking questions. Please use the hand tool to indicate if you have a question. And I know some questions are being answered in the chat. Thanks, Shola, for that. Yes, Kenichi,
Okay, good evening, everyone. Doc, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I want to quickly appreciate you for your mentorship. I'm a big fan of the Best Man Academy. I've gone through all your YouTube videos, even your tutorials on your site, and it was quite helpful. I started my graduate studies application to the US last year. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, with the help of your video tutorials and I was able to get 2 admissions out of 7 applications, but I wasn't funded. So the first question is, what's the next step for this kind of scenario? After getting funded by schools, are there other means of, after getting admissions from school, are there other means one can fund his or her graduate still wants to go out without the funding? Because I've heard some news about, okay, someone told me after getting admission, you can still go there. You might be lucky to get maybe an administrative assistantship over there or some stuff like that, but that's like gambling with the probability of that. Then the second question is, you spoke about not building a strategy around admission waivers, the tuition waivers rather. Is it tuition? No, application waivers. Sorry. Yeah. And in the last admission application cycle, I had lots of application waivers, some which were advertised publicly. I know I got one from one of these high schools. What are they called again? Like Yale University. I had to write to the graduate coordinator. So, and I was given $100 waiver. Though in the end, I wasn't all considered for the PhD position. So does that also fall, does that category of, emailing the coordinator fall under your definition of building strategy around application waivers? That's the second question. Then, are there any recommendation in how to properly streamline, the schools, 3,000 plus?
Sorry, can you come again on the third question? Are there ways to streamline? That was the last thing I heard. I really can't hear you anymore. All right. I can't hear you. I think it's making this weird sound. But I can go ahead and answer your first two questions. And let's see if we can get the third one in.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, it's better.
Okay, I said, considering the fact that you have about 3,000 plus schools in the US, are there ways to streamline this choice of schools? I know you've talked about some of them in your video tutorials where you talked about using GRE, or those that don't require GRE and all this English proficiency test, and also using Twitter and other platforms. But most times you still have surplus of schools. Are there like other discriminating factors or yardstick one can use to streamline the schools to apply to? Did you get my question, please?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so let me do this one after the other. So let me start with the last one. Are there other factors to reduce the number or streamline the number of schools? I think for graduate students, for me, one of my favorite ways, and I think I've talked about this, is to use the research route. So what are you interested in? What kind of research are you interested in? Then you can find schools where they are doing this exact kind of research. Going through that route reduces significantly, the number of schools you will be considering, right? But if you really don't have any metric to stream, you'll just be, applying to whatever schools. I don't know what other way to streamline that, except you want to use, GRE. Let's say schools that do not require GRE, schools that do not require TOEFL, but are those schools going to give you funding? Those are some of the considerations. But for me, if we go through the research route and you find where they are actively doing this specific line of research, right, then you can, you can put that in your list and just continue doing that until you have a lot of schools on your list. And then you can start the process of, which school have the GRE requirements or not, things like that. So for me, I recommend that you start with the research interests. So what are your interests? What field?
Okay.
So it's not just about, let's say you are in, I don't know, microbiology. It's not just about schools that have microbiology program. I'm sure there are probably a couple thousand schools with microbiology. So how do you now, so ask yourself, what are you interested in? I know, of course, I mean, I understand the JAPA thing, but I don't, personally, I don't preach. I want you to JAPA, but, JAPA into something,
Yeah.
something good for you and your career.
Yeah,
So think about what you're interested in. What will you be excited to learn more about? Then you can start searching for schools with professors that are actively studying, that particular thing. So let's say microbiology, it's a wide and wild field. So it's not just about I'm interested in viruses. Okay, there's a lot. So is there a specific kind of virus? Is it HIV? So where are they doing HIV research? Are you into vaccine development? Vaccine development is vast as well. Vaccine development against what kind of disease? Are you interested in, let's say, malaria? So there are a lot of people studying mosquitoes in the US. So then you will now start, looking for those opportunities, the schools or professors. So you can do that by either, like I said in the course, you can do that by either going to the National Institute of Health's website and look at people that are actively funded. But one of the ideas that I shared early on the platform on YouTube is to go to Google Scholar or PubMed. I don't know if you guys know PubMed, but Google Scholar is a good option. And just, let's say I'm interested in vaccine development against HIV, right? And you just search that, you would see a lot of papers that are actively reporting or publishing things in that area. So you can click that paper and look at the affiliations of the author, right? So let's say the author is Joshua Olaju, you will see that, and you will see the school, the university. Then you can put that down and say, okay, I'm going to pursue this further later. That's how I recommend, doing this. I don't know if that answered your question, but I'm going to go to the second one, the application fee waiver. Sorry?
Yeah, that's well understood. That's streamlining my interests, which I've done. I basically use yes, as you said in your video, I use academia, Google Scholar, and Twitter. I was asking if there are other ones because after using those, most times because of my choice of research interest, I don't usually get like lots of output using those medium. So I understand what you're saying, streamlining my research interest and using those search engines to get possible advisors.
Right. So application fee waiver. So yeah, that was a good question you asked surrounding app fee waivers. Now, I think I tell this to the people that I mentor to, even when you find a school that, is not on social media, you can still write to them and request for app fee waivers. So that's a good strategy. But, these schools are not the ones that are publicly advertised. I know a school that does this yearly application free week or something. Then sometimes they don't even end up, they don't end up letting the students know if they are admitted or not. So they just take all the applications and very few people will eventually even get contacted. So that's a bad strategy in my opinion. You can still apply because it costs nothing, but if you find these unique places, you can still write to the graduate coordinator explaining, why why you're interested in their program, and it will be really helpful if they have programs to, waive the application fee for you. So that's a good option. But that should not affect your chances of getting admitted. So I know you talked about Yale. I don't think you were rejected because of the waiver they gave you. So it's just probably because of other reasons. Okay. How to fund your studies after admission, right? So it depends on the school. Like I said, I don't know if this will answer, if this directly answers your question, but personal funds are hard to come by to really use for this. But you know, the loan options, and I think we talked about that in our last video on YouTube. So if you have that loan option, when you get to the US, you don't, for most people, they don't even finish a semester before they get, you know, the opportunity to be on an assistantship. But I think I mentioned in the video, be careful about it. It will all depend on the kind of school you end up at, right? Let's say you were admitted at Yale, and they don't have funding, you know, they just give you admission. It might be a good idea to, you know, start at Yale with a loan, because we know that this is a well-funded school and over time you're going to get it. But let's say you know, go to one university that's not a high research intensive university, right? Let's say all these R2 or R3 universities. Then your chances of getting funded after you start your programs it's really low. You might end up just, you know, spending all your loan money, and you will now be in like 50K debt after your studies. So you don't want that. So as long as this school is a good school and you know that, okay, this school is well funded, even if you don't get it this semester, there is a high chance that you will get funded after you start. So I don't know if that answers your question, or maybe I forgot that funding question. So if you were not funded, the next thing to do is you want to consider, do I want to get a loan to get started, or should I wait to apply next year? You can still apply to the same school if they usually have funding, right? Sometime if you reapply to the same school, they would usually know that you were part of the previous application cycle, right? And this time they might consider you for funding if this is a department or school that is, you know, in this R1 universities category that usually get funded. So the fact that you are persistent might encourage them to fund you this time. If you, of course, if you have all the requirements to be funded through, let's say they only fund people through teaching. So if you don't have TOEFL, maybe they waived TOEFL for you. One thing you can use to improve that is to take one English test, and you know, when you submit this time to, you know, it improves your competitiveness for these funds. So those are the options. Either you proceed with a loan or you reapply. But for most of us, we have to do it twice or 3 times. You have to go through 2 application cycles at least before getting admitted and funded. I only did 1, but for most students, sometimes this is the case. So you're on the right path. All right, let's go to the next question. Rahim.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Rahim.
Hi, Dr. Ojo. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for today's session. It's been informative. I don't know if you remember me. I've asked you a few questions through LinkedIn a few times and answered them, and I just want to, you know, thank you for always answering my questions, because sometimes I think I might maybe be bothering you or something, but thank you. So my question is about, you know, showing the evidence that you've actually done a particular research. So my question is, in my university, I currently finished my master's degree. So I wrote a master's thesis, and my university has a research portal where master's theses are uploaded and they're available to anyone in the public. So would it be a good idea for me to put the link to that to my master's thesis in the email, or do I put it in my CV? So is it okay for me to put it in the email or put it in the CV? So that's one question. And my second question is, I've only sent 5 cold emails to professors in the US. I've only gotten 2 responses.
Just 5? So you
just
sent 5, you sent 5 and you got 2 responses.
Yes, I got 2 responses.
And you need to teach us the trick you are using. That's a high percent return rate. All right, continue.
Well, it's not the responses are not positive and they're also not negative.
That's okay. That's not a negative response.
Yeah, the professor said, like one of the professors said that in his department, you need to apply first before you need to be admitted first before he starts, considering students for funding. And the second one said that he's not entirely sure if he's going to accept students in this academic year. So, but he says that he saw, like I've done, because he works on a particular technique for Raman spectroscopy, and I did that in my master's. So he said he saw that in my CV, and it might be something interesting for him. So he's going to look at my application. He's going to look for my application when I do apply. So that's one of it. So my question, So my question is this still? Like, is it too late for me to keep saying? Like, am I too late in sending emails, or I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like I should have sent the emails earlier. But can I still send more emails? I'm not sure about that. So those are the questions I have. If you can answer them as best as you can.
All right. So first question. Can you put the link to your university's portal on emails? So one thing I tell people that there are no rules when it comes to your own document. So you decide how you want to sell stuff. So as long as you put it in a way that the reader can easily find it and interpret it. Okay. So yeah, absolutely, you can put the link somewhere whenever you are talking about research in your, let's say, statement of purpose, and you really want to, you can put a link in your statement. No, there's no rule that you cannot put a link in your statement of purpose. People have done it, especially in my group before. People did it and they were successful. For example, the person that I said made a video about him teaching. So when he was talking about his skills, his teaching skills in the statement of purpose, he just put in parentheses an example here. He just put the YouTube link. And trust me, someone will click it and they will try to see how well you did, in that link. So yeah, you can absolutely put it in your CV, and even I recommend. But if it's a publication, maybe just put it in a CV. It might be enough. We don't want to start linking all our publications in the statement of purpose. But if there's other unique things that might give you that edge, outside like the normal requirements that other people would submit, yeah, you can absolutely put a link. For example, if you have projects in GitHub, you can put a link in both your CV and whenever you're talking about it in your statements, you can put it there. So yeah, there are no, but make sure you are clear about, this is master's thesis, right? You let them know it's your master's thesis. It's not a publication per se, so it's not peer reviewed, but at least they know you've gone through our projects. So so I think that answers that. Is it too late to start sending emails? So it depends on. I think the question I'll ask you is, for what session are you planning for, spring or fall?
Fall 2024.
Yeah, I actually wanted to touch on that. I somehow forgot. It might still be too early to start emailing to the professors, because some of them are focused on onboarding the students for fall 2023, right? And if you're people that are thinking ahead of maybe spring 2024, maybe those are the right candidates right now. But whenever they resume, and most of them are focused on research and vacationing right now. So sometimes if you send emails in the summer, it might land somewhere you don't want it to. So when they resume in the fall, let's say by August, then that will be like a good time to start sending emails to professors. I'm not saying you should not start now. Of course, start now. But if you don't get any response, it's okay to follow up, sometime in August.
All right. I have one last question. I'm currently working on my publication manuscript because I want to publish my my master's thesis in a peer-reviewed journal. But the issue is that the journal might not be accepted until like 3 months after submission. So that would be around November. So and sometimes some people say it's better to submit your applications earlier. Don't always wait till the deadline. So my question is, do I wait until the publication is accepted before I submit all my applications, or do I just submit it and just put it in my CV that it's under review?
Yes, so you should put that publication in. So there is this section I have on my CV that would say, of course, published manuscript, but there are some that manuscripts under review. Then you put it there. Then you put the name of the journal, right? So that's
Yeah.
you have submitted it to a particular journal. But that's not just enough. I think I would probably talk more about this when we talk about references. But you want to make sure one of your references actually refers to that, right? So it's not, one of the mistakes that people make is, you have this pending stuff in your CV, and none of your mentors that are writing reference letters mention any of this very well, or you align either of the two. So if you have pending manuscript, I would expect that your supervisor would say, you are a great candidate and XYZ. So he has even prepared the manuscript and it's pending at the journal of, pending review at the journal of nutrition, whatever. So they should allude to all this pending, non-verifiable stuff. So that's the job of your referees. But we'll go into details about referees later. But I think that answers all your questions.
Thank you for answering my questions.
No problem. Abidemi. And please, my co-hosts, if you have anything to add, please always jump in.
Yeah, okay, sir.
All right, Abidemi, let's hear you. We can't hear you, Abidemi. Are you still there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you, sir.
My namesake.
I would like to appreciate you for this opportunity. Thank you so much, sir. I am currently applying to schools, but I'm waiting for the right time. I think the application portal will open by August for, I think, for 2024 as well. Well, I'm a social scientist and an educationist because I did both when I was in school, but I don't know anything, like I don't have any experience on, I want to change my course for my graduate programs, but I have no idea. I did social science and education, so I want to change to sociology. So I don't know how to go about it.
I mean, aren't they similar fields?
Yes, they are similar. It's more like a social science course, but with education. But sociology is more like social science and arts subject. So I don't know how to go about it.
Yeah, don't worry too much about what we call it back in Africa. I mean, as long as you can find the commonalities, you want to explore that more and not really focus too much on the differences. Are there one of the things I ask when this question come up is if you can recognize, you have to be able to recognize the similarities between the two fields. Then what you are going to do in your documents is to, explain, what your experience is in this area.
Okay, sir.
So
Yes,
if you
sir.
have experience that will be useful in the new field, then you want to really stress this experience more. Now, let's say someone is moving from biochemistry to data science. That's possible. I've seen that. I mean, I've seen people do it even at the PhD level, but they have to be able to show that they can cope in the new field. So what have they done, right? What they do to really acquire the skills, the background skills needed in this new field. So in your sociology course, are there prerequisites that you've already done in the former field? So you want to stress that, yeah, even though there are different fields, I have a good understanding of, this particular concept, this course, because I've done this and this and this. So there are a lot of nuances there, but like I said, you will be the one to identify what are the similarities. Then you want to stress that more in your documents. But you shouldn't be scared of changing fields. People change fields all the time. I mean, I've changed fields multiple. I did biochemistry in Nigeria, did nutrition and PhD, and I'm in the gastroenterology field now. So it's all about what you're interested in, and if you can stress how your experiences in the past will be useful for this current for your current interests, and where that is taking you after your studies.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So yeah, don't be scared of changing fields. They are similar fields. Like sounds like they are similar fields, and you wouldn't have any much issues as long as you meet all the requirements or sometimes exceed them. The basic requirements.
Thank you, sir.
Good.
All right, sir. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Like I said, if Shala or Joshua have any other additions, please always jump in. All right, let's quickly go to Olumide. Olumide, please unmute and ask your question. I'm not sure, Olumide. Yeah, I don't think he's. All right, let's go to the next person, which is Alawale.
All right. Good evening, sir. Please, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, perfect.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for the sacrifice, sir. Very grateful, sir. It's been a wonderful session, sir. So my question, sir, I applied for Paul 23, but it did not go through. So I mailed the graduate coordinator of some of the schools, like 3 of them, to ask for feedback on why my application was not successful. Please, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so one of the schools, the graduate coordinator said, although he did not have access to go through my file in depth, that he saw my file that they wrote no graduate preparedness on my file. And one of the school, I reached out to the professor that I was in touch with before applying. So that one said it's because I did not have publications. And the other schools that I had conversation with one of the professors, he said he had about 100 people applying to join his lab, that the competition was just too much. So I want to ask that, what do you think I can do to enhance my profile as I want to apply again for 424? That what are the things you think I can do to enhance my profile and to better prepare for 424, sir? Thank you very much, sir.
All right, great question. So this happens when there's a lot of competition. They now start picking on things that are unfair. I think it's unfair to expect graduate students to have, applicants to have publications. But if they receive 100 applicants, I bet majority of them, at least half of them, will probably have publications. So what you can do in this case, all right. So what you can do is, let me ask, for what's your field?
Chemistry, sir.
Chemistry. Okay. No graduate preparedness. Publications. So that's tough for chemistry. But the truth is I think I've had like 3 people in the past. And I think they have publications. So that's so if you have, it's hard because you can't really publish your thesis by yourself, right? So I think one of the things you can do is, if it's possible, to use this pre-printing service and try to format your thesis and just upload it here as a preprint, right? And upload that on the preprinting service and get the citation and put it as non-peer reviewed publications or your undergraduate thesis. So let it appear boldly on your CV. And other things you can do, if you already have friends here, or I've seen people do this once, so you can write a review article, with someone, either your supervisor or friends, and just publish it. Okay, so this will cost money too. That's why I said, if you have, let's say if you have a colleague here or a senior colleague.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, so I want to say that when they said that I resumed as an assistant with my undergraduate supervisor from January this year. So I've been since January. So post June this year too, I had oral presentation at ACS conference, the Nigerian ACS conference here. So I don't know if that could also enhance the profile. And I'm working on a manuscript now with my supervisor and co-supervisor.
So that's, I think you already know
timing and everything.
Yeah, I think you're already on the right path. You know what to do. If you have conferences, if you can attend conferences and present, let that be on your CV. Yeah, even if sometimes there's a way you can even sell your, what's it called? We usually do this seminar, right? We do this seminar in undergrad. I remember we did that in biochemistry, where we assigned a topic. So that can count as a speaking event as well. So of course you let them know it's university seminar, but you present an oral presentation. Yeah, both local, when I say local, within your university and outside your university. Any presentations in that realm counts. Everything counts if you know how to sell it very well. We'll talk more about CVs in detail next time. So I'll show you how some people are.
All right, thank you.
Advice on selling some of this.
Dr. Oja, I would like to
yes.
say something quickly. Since you said he's a chemistry student, a lot of professors now are looking for students that can do wet chemistry, that can do basic laboratory experiments. So if he knows how to do all those kind of things and he needs to prove it, he can intern in some test laboratories around him, like IITA or some other ones, intern for like a month or two, record yourself while doing a basic experiment, and then put it in your application. So that's to show that you can do a basic weight analysis or basic experiments in your field. It will go a long way too. That's all.
So if you have access to those basic equipments, like you said, you can record yourself, walking us through how to use an equipment, because chemistry students, most of your funding will come through teaching assistantships in labs. I don't know if you're applying to chemistry departments, but most of them, they anchor labs for undergraduates. So if you have something like that is actually walking us through how to use, let's say, a spectrophotometer, I don't know, whatever basic equipment that you are comfortable using. So that when they see that, they will know that, okay, this person is prepared, but if you don't have any publications, no conferences, chemistry is a competitive field, and I know they do have funding. So yeah, if you improve on some of these things, hopefully you can can get in this time.
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome. Jacinta, you can, I think I saw your text, you can email bestmanacademy.com at gmail.com rather. bestmanacademy@gmail.com. I would note the name, and whoever reads the email, I'll let them know that I'm expecting an email from Jacinta. All right. Is Omotoshola Olumide ready before we move to whoever is Samsung? All right, it's not ready. All right, I don't know who's Samsung SM.
Hello.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
All right.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Olumide.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'm very grateful, sir. Good morning, good afternoon, doctor.
Yes, sir.
I want to commend your efforts and I want to appreciate your mentorship. I've been looking for opportunity to talk to you one-on-one like this. Sir, my questions are not that much. I actually want to tell you about my background before I ask a question. And I want you to give me the privilege to meet my senior colleague. I forgot his name, the one that spoke about the experience he had that was in part 3 in his PhD program. So I actually studied electrical engineering, elect. I had HND in electrical engineering. My GP then was 3.3 out of 5. So the passion for me to go to graduate school prepared me to go back to university, which I just finished from Federal University of Oyukiti. I study electronics engineering as well. So before I actually went back to that school, I had experience. I worked with telecom company. I worked with power generation company. But the thing I lack is this: I didn't have research experience. But when it comes to practical, I have the experience. So when I see CVs, hello, sir. Are you hearing me, sir?
I can hear you, yes.
So the only thing that baffles me is that I didn't have research experience. But when it comes to practical, I work on installation of diesel generator, gas generator. And when it comes to practical, I think I'm good to go. But I didn't have research experience. So I want you to advise me, what can I do to enhance my opportunity in that research? Presently, I finalize the program I want to do in my graduate school. I want to go to embedded system engineering. So I'm asked to do with electronics and programming. So I actually engage myself in some program concerning that embedded engineering on YouTube. I was with one professor. I was trying to learn from him. So I've downloaded most of the classes, reading on my own. But the barrier now is that I don't have research experience. So I want you to advise me, what can I do? That's my question, sir.
All right.
And my current CGP now is I'm hoping, I'm trusting God, I will be having 2.21 second class upper.
For what in your HND?
No, in my university now, Federal University of Oyukiti.
Oh, okay. When are you finishing that?
We have done, but you know, Nigerian system, I've not defended my project. So we're only waiting for the day to defend the project. After defend, I think I should be having my convocation by January. So having my transcripts. And I've already went to my school, which is Polytechnic Ibadan, for my transcripts. I want to do evaluation.
All right. I would let since we have an electrical engineer here, I would let him take this and I can add to it. So in your field, you have a good understanding of your field. Joshua, excuse me. Yeah, so you heard the question, right, Josh?
Yes, so practical experience, I mean.
Yes, but no research experience. I would think that should be a benefit, but yeah, let me just hear from you. What do you think?
Yes, so for practical experience, yes, actually it really counts. But also, you want to try as much as possible to document it.
How do you sell it?
Yeah, you need to be able to document and sell it, like installation and everything. Because most of the things we do here, we hardly do it with physical systems. So practical experience is good, but you need to be able to document the operations of all of those things. How do they operate? How do they work? And all of those things. If you can put it in your research, in your CV as projects, they will also count. But also, like your bachelor's thesis is something you can also expand on if it's related to your if it's related to the experience that you have to also count. But practical experience is good, it will work, but also try to document it, like have maybe write about the project you've done, maybe installation of something. You can document it as a project and add it to your CV. Just document it. They really can't, because most of the time they want to see that, they just want to read about it. They want to know about you. If you don't tell it to them, if you don't sell it to them, they don't know about you. So you want to try as much as possible to document it and sell it. We have industry people that also write papers. And it's all just based on what they've done. Probably installation of something, and you just document it properly so that they can read about it and see. Because it's not as much as they want to see your writing skills too. How do you communicate? How do you communicate whatever you are doing? It's also very key. Not just about doing it, but how do you sell it? How do you communicate it? How can other people know about it?
Understand it,
Yeah.
that you have all this experience. So I
Yes.
think in your field, I would imagine that practical experience is even more important than than research experience. At least at the highest level, I think.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Not that research is not important, but of course, if you have the practical knowledge and you can show that you have the basics, like prerequisites, you've done all the classes you should have done before now. You have let's say for now, one thing Joshua mentioned, I just remembered now, is to learn all this whatever coding skills that you use in your field. So can you mention some of this that might be important for you?
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
So we normally use MATLAB is like a very common one. MATLAB.
MATLAB. Okay.
Yes. And
MATLAB.
if you can add Python to it, it's also very good. MATLAB and Python, just those two, they are okay. We can do a lot with them. If you want to go more advanced, you can look at PhD. That is Power System Computer Aided Design. It's also very good. You can look at PSSC, Power System State Estimation. You can look at RS card. There are a lot of them, yes. But MATLAB, Python, they are very good. They are very good once you can address on this one.
And you can correct me. I don't think you have to be like proficient, all the way proficient with them.
No. Because
So which one do you advise me to start with first? I was looking into the C++ programming because it's the language that they used to write a control when it comes to embedded systems. So I was like, I want to engage myself in that C++ programming first. Is it okay? Am I good to go by that? Or
yeah, C++ is good if you know about it, but also you want to learn a skill that everybody is also comfortable with. If you are the only one using C++, like in my lab, we rarely use C++. If you are the only one using C++, then other people cannot discuss. They can't come and make corrections on your simulation or something. But MATLAB is very good.
Which language do you say I should go first? Python.
MATLAB is yeah. MATLAB is very good.
Is it language programming, sir?
What did you say?
It's MATLAB. Is it programming?
Yes, it's programming. Yes, matrix laboratory.
Matrix laboratory. Sir, I would like to have your email so that I want you to be my mentor. I want you to at least to guide me, to assist me. I will appear you, sir.
Yeah, you can contact Dr. Ojo, yeah.
Doctor.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, sir.
just send an email and I can
Okay,
connect.
sir. Okay, sir. God bless, sir. I really appreciate it. You really make my day. God bless, sir. That's all.
All right. All right. Since is Samsung here, please unmute and so please let's make our questions really brief because we want to leave in like 20 minutes. All right. Yes, can we meet you officially, please? We can't see your name, so.
Hello, sir. Good day,
Yes,
sir.
yes, I can hear you now.
My name is Ayomide Fabolade.
Okay.
So during the course of this section, I think Shola mentioned review of a review as an alternative to research experience. So I just want more guidance on that. Are there criteria for reviews of past research as probably as a new publication? Or does it have to be a publication? Does the review need to be peer reviewed, or is just a review that you can also use as a preprint, put on a preprint format?
I mean, if you have a review, it could either be on a preprint format, or if you can, I mean, if you have the means to publish, you can still publish it. Reviews are still peer reviewed before they are accepted for publication. But let's say you don't have the means to even publish, because some of these things, I mean, hopefully, even if I become, let's say I become a faculty, I understand the hindrances when it comes to publishing for students. But what I think for me and for a lot of other people would probably not like is not to see the effort. So let's see if you are putting the effort into actually, qualify or be competitive for this. So even if you write a review, and even if it's not published, you can still document that review in a pre-printing service like the one I shared today. So at least it tells your reader that you are making an effort, to actually do this. And it's okay to even write about this in your statement of purpose. Like I said, that statement is all about you, how you can sell things. You can say you are really passionate about this. There is no means for you to publish, but you have synthesized the literature, the latest knowledge around this topic, which probably that professor is studying that topic, and it's pre-printed here. They can go there and access it, but at least they see the effort. But not even putting any effort is, I think right now you have a lot of means to show that you can be competitive. So either you are coding, if you can code, there's an opportunity to open a GitHub account and be dropping your projects there. So no excuse for not showing evidence. If you can write, you can teach, just write a review. You can write a review with someone. If you can publish it, yes, that's perfect. But even if you can't publish it, put it on a preprint website and get the citation and put it in the non-peer reviewed publication section on your CV. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, that answers my question. Thank you very much, sir.
Right. So I think what most people want to see sometimes is the effort. You are putting in the effort to actually improve yourself. So there is really no excuse that, you finish university and someone should give you $50,000 per year. So they want to see the effort. All right, Callistus. Callis? All right, okay, I think. Callistus?
Hello?
Now I can hear you, yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, I said I want to, first of all, thank you for your help in helping students from Nigeria, and other countries from Africa to move over for graduate program. I've gone through your best academic training online and I've completed it. Actually, my question is within the STEM field. However, I like writing, so I just finished writing a book, and I'm even pushing it for print at the moment now. So I want to find out, is it needful to add it to maybe to my CV and my SOP, when I'm applying for graduate school? So I hope to apply for spring 2024.
So you're in the STEM field, you have a book. Is the book, what's the book about?
No, it's a story book. It's a non-fiction book anyway.
I mean, it's okay, you can put it in the hobbies section, but that's not, I mean, if it's not related, I wouldn't, it's okay to put it in your CV,
Okay.
And just put it in the hobbies section as some things you like to do. But I don't think, I mean, it's good that you're writing, but I don't think a professor that is studying chemistry is looking for students that are showing passion towards non-fiction writing. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah,
All right.
It might be good to put in the hobbies section, but everything you want to sell here should be somewhat related to, even if it's not related, at least the reader should know that, okay, I can use some of this skill to polish it, for our program here. So yeah, I think that's a good question. Yeah, if you are doing, as a matter of fact, if you think it's something that would not, speak well for your, even if it's a good thing outside your field, just remove it, or just hide it somewhere that probably not. But the best thing is to put everything, is about just a position, and everything should be related to the position. Or can be used, can be polished for the position. So things like that. Good question though. And I'm looking forward to your book. Let me know when it's out. All right. Kenichi Innocent.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was going to ask, still speaking on cold email window, are there like recommended timeline when we're expected to at least target the professors? Because I noticed there are times where they're in the field, there are times when they're on travel leave, and there are times when they are not disposed actually to answering this email, and that will also determine the efficacy of your cold email and it being replied to. Because I recently emailed the professor and he was like, I should email him back mid-July to see the possibility of scheduling a Zoom meeting. So I want to ask if there are specific timelines to target for better efficacy.
What do you think, Shola, Joshua, in your experience?
Okay, if I may go first. Yeah, so I would say during the summer like this, things are pretty slow. I mean, especially in June. But when it's getting close to August, even this time, it's really a good time to, when it's getting close to August, when the professors are getting ready to resume, it's a good time to target them. But when you email them in June, they just finished the semester in May, so all of them are looking forward to vacation. Yeah.
Well,
so
probably
also,
somewhere in Cuba.
Yeah.
When they see your email, they're like, oh my God.
Yeah. So also another time too is if during the semester also is a good time. I mean, when the semester is on, it's always a good time, but just try to make sure that your emails come in the morning. Yeah, very early in the morning. You look at the time zone of the professor you are trying to email and try to target it to come in the morning so that when he resumes in the morning at work, you can see it first, maybe around 9 a.m. or something, you can see it. But when it's coming close to the end of the day, I mean, some of them don't even stay till the end of the day. So if you send emails late in the evening, they might not see it. Although they see it, but they'll feel like it's not their work time, so they won't they won't reply. So let your emails come in the morning. Look at the time zone. Try to target those time zones, and also use good subjects when you are emailing a professor. Yeah, so you want to use a subject that will catch his attention and he will want to reply. So, but when you are using maybe seeking funding, seeking projects, they don't accept. But when you use something that is related to their research, maybe study on so, and
Right. That's a good thing. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Okay, specifically, the timeline I was able to get, you're saying from spring, maybe January through May, then August.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
November.
I would say nobody can tell you a perfect time, right?
No problem.
So, but when we put right, it's usually better to get it, start sending emails maybe right now or getting close to August, because that's when they are actively in zone and on the job. Because most professors are on a 9 month contract, so that runs from August till May. So between May and August is their own time to do whatever they like. Some decide to stay on campus to do research, some travel, some take up another teaching job in the summer somewhere. So I think as we approach August, that would start, that would be a good time. And it depends. I say August because most schools have their fall semester start in August. But for some schools, they start in September. So you want to know when the school system starts. I know for Stanford now they start in September. So some of their professors are not even on campus right now. And they would likely not be in the overall head space to reply emails. And when you send emails, like I said, one of the a good subject line, let's say someone is doing Drosophila research, so studying sleep, right? I know one of our friends studies sleep in Cincinnati. So your email can read something about opportunities to study sleep in Drosophila. You can. That's a good thing. I know I gave some examples in the course, but over time you have to start getting creative about how you attract people's attention. That's, I think Shola wants to add something.
Yes. Thank you. I also want to say that sending cold emails can be very daunting. Like I've been there, and it's one of the stressful things to do. So one tip that I used to during those periods was once I'm able to identify some professors that have websites. I know these ones are always like recruiting students. They are serious with research, or they are already used to collecting grants. So how do I know if they have current grants? Because it's not all of them have current grants that I'll make them to get in new students. So I search for them on Google search. Take it for example now. I might just say Olushola Olagoju, then their school, maybe Olushola Olagoju, North Carolina. Then I'll put grant seed, something like grant funding. So if that person just got just a grant seed or just got something similar to funding, you would see it. Maybe the school will post something like that, or probably the agency where they got the grant from to post something like that. This person just won one. So you will not waste your time, because there are so many schools. I don't know, US have like more than 100 universities. So to be able to streamline which of the professors in these schools to actually send these cold emails to, because some of them will say they don't have grants, they don't have funding. So you might want to use that to streamline the number of professors you send cold emails. So you know that this particular one is recruited because they have current funding. Thank you.
Exactly. Sorry, this was like my main point for like actually asking my first question earlier. How to streamline schools, because most times you end up sending to these professors and they don't have funding. because I've made use of the Grantham. You made mention of Grantham, NHIS in your videos, and I really didn't get much. It wasn't much so helpful for me. So that was what I actually meant.
What field are you in?
I intend to venture into computational approaches to solving geoscience problem, basically in oil and gas sector.
Yeah, you would probably not see much on those websites. I don't know. I might do more research on how to find things for geography or geology people, but yeah, I understand why you won't see much on Grantham or NIH website. Some of that might be covered by NSF though, National Science Foundation, I imagine.
Okay.
So I think I did an example with. So most of your studies will be sponsored by NSF.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. All right, quickly, Justin, we have 5 more. Let's knock it out quickly.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ojo.
All
Can
right.
you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Greetings from this side, Dr. Ojo. I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity.
No problem.
I have a question, though it's more like an advice, let me say an advice. I got an admission from a school, Lincoln University in Philadelphia. Although my undergraduate course was agricultural engineering, but after school, I've been doing more of business. So I've been more of the business kind of guy, buying and selling. So I got an admission to do a course in MBA, Master of Business Administration. That's in human resource. But they don't have funding. They don't have any scholarship for me or funding, and the fee was much. So I got discouraged because some of my friends that went for visa interview at the embassy, though their money was not even that much compared to mine, and they are not even giving the visa despite all the processes and everything. So beginning my own process to the visa stuff again, I felt like I was just discouraged because the money was close to like $50K. $50K was much. And even if I could get personal funding close to that, the embassy, convincing the embassy, like personal funding is kind of not realistic, except God grace is with you. So I reached out to the admission coordinator for deferred admission, if I could, although I was still reaching out to them if they could provide me assistance or scholarship just to like add it to my I-20 so I can even convince the embassy from there. But they said they don't have. So I reached out to them, they gave me a deferred admission. But I have a question on what they sent to me. I'll be reading it out. They said deferred students may not enroll at another college or university during the deferred period. Last, Lincoln University will not grant any credits for courses taken during the deferment period. So my question relative to their policy, because they sent me a policy and they sent me a letter, they sent me a form to fill for them to defer my admission for a year. But the policy there is that I may not, if I reply them, they said I may not enroll at another college or university. And they've been sending me so many things, so many requirements so they can have my details, but I've not replied them yet. So my question now is, should I reply them to defer this my admission for 1 year, or I should just ignore them? And although I've been looking out for other schools, and I'm even trying to change field also, if I can return back to my undergraduate courses on agriculture and precision agriculture. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, if you defer the admission, are they still going to give you funding in a year's time? What are the odds?
I'm not certain. Yeah, it's not there. It's not even stated on the form that was given to me. I'm not sure if they are going to.
So if they are not going to do that, if there are no opportunities to be funded, MBA programs are like this. They hardly fund people, especially those coming from abroad. So I would say for people interested in MBAs, and this is for everyone that is trying to change fields. If you think it's going to be hard to achieve this, it's might be a good idea to start with your current field. And one thing I say is when you get to the United States and you start your program, one of the easiest things to do is to move from one department to another, if you are qualified anyway. But it's easier when you are already in the US to move. Even institutions, you can transfer to another institution or transfer to another department. But it's easier to get whatever you want to get right now by coming through your field or similar fields. Doesn't have to be your exact field. So if they're not going to give you funding in a year's time, I would say, just search for other opportunities, re-strategize and search for other opportunities, but it doesn't sound like they will still give you funding in 1 year's time. So I don't know if it makes sense to hold on to them. I don't know if that's
Dr. Ojo. Okay, Dr. Ojo.
Yes.
I hope I won't be if I don't reply them, if I don't reply any of what they sent to me, although I accepted the admission, but if I don't reply to them, it does not have any effect.
No, it doesn't. Except you are still considering the university, so then you want to reply, and I mean you can, and if you are not interested anymore, you can just tell them that you want to let go of this offer and thank them.
Okay, I can send them a mail and tell them they should just
yeah, just thank them for the opportunity, and you want to let go of the offer, or if you want to accept the conditions. I don't know the details, so I'm sure you understand. You would understand whatever was sent to you. So if you want to accept it, you can accept it. So it all depends on you anyway. But my advice, if I were you, I would just focus on other things. Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ojo. Yeah,
So,
I'm clear. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm quickly going to answer Ernest. You are going for a Master in Nutritional Sciences. What coding skills are necessary for me? I'm going to answer this because it's my field. So coding skills are not necessarily, so it depends on which side of nutrition are you going. Is it community nutrition or whatever? But so if it's the molecular nutrition area, all you need really, not all you need, at least at this level, if you can know how to use R, that will benefit you. I don't think we use Python or all that stuff. But R is an effective data analysis tool for us. All right. Yes, we are going to record. We are actually recording this and post it. So if anyone that wants to review any part of this lecture can do that later. We are now over time. So I scheduled this for 2 hours. My co-hosts are welcome to leave if you want to. I'm gonna, since I think I counted up to Chinedu, I'm going to try to answer or take their questions before we end this. All right. And for people leaving, next time we are going to talk in detail about CV and maybe emails, some ideas about emails, because that will be the perfect time in our estimation to start doing some of this. So we are going to share examples and go into, special tips and tricks for your emails. All right, Oluwatobi. Did I just call Oluwatobi? All right, Oluwatobi is not here. Sunday here.
Yes, sorry. Good evening, sir. Firstly, thank you very much for the job well done. I think I've been following you for the past 3 years. Okay, this is my story. What I needed is an advice, not like a question. I finished from Petroleum Training Institute, Warri, and then I had an HND, upper credit, in environmental technology. So after then, I secured the job. Okay, during my internship, I had an internship with NMPC. I was in Research and Development Division Lab. So in this research and development, and then environmental research and services. Yeah. So about going to my career now, I've worked for 3 years now, going into meet. I'm now a supervisor for my department. Well, I'm basically doing industrial safety related jobs for the past 3 years, and I've built my profession in terms of short courses on that part. I've gone for my IELTS. I just finished my IELTS today, and then my GRE is scheduled on the 3rd, and I'm also doing my WES evaluation, which is on course. So looking at this, it does seem it's taking me away from environmental technology to industrial safety, although there is environmental aspects in industrial safety. If I had to go into the process of searching for schools and scaling up a profession, what do you advise me looking at US as a setting and looking at my career path, what I've finished and my internship where I am now? What would you advise me to do?
So what are your interests?
Okay, basically before now I had a project on environmental microbiology, which was what I have developed enormously on. But then it does seem now my career becomes more interested in me, like loss prevention, industrial safety, failure mode effect analysis on a plant, because I currently work for a production firm.
Okay. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Right. So I have just mentioned among the issues. So basically, like now, I worked mostly on how to sort issues of radiation in the workstation, in the plant, how to ensure for emergency response, preparedness plan. This is more like industrial safety.
Right. So I think I heard of one course recently. I can't buy. So I think your interest would, if you are thinking of environmental science here, in my experience, some of them are more into, maybe water or, things that might not surround what you are interested in. So if you can look at programs like environmental engineering, there are actually programs like that. Or some of your interests might also be in industrial engineering.
Industrial engineering.
So I think these two would so environmental engineering, industrial engineering. But what I want to stress is, if you go to core environmental science programs, just make sure that they have some of these your interests. But if you are thinking of industry, safety, environment, all these things will probably be in environmental engineering or industrial engineering fields. Those are just some of the things I can come up with right now. But looks like you have the experience to go to, either environmental science, environmental engineering, industrial engineering. I can't remember any other engineering. But yeah, you have a lot of options and see what's out there for you.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, Ikenna.
Hello, Doc. Good evening.
Yes, sir. Did I pronounce that right? Ikenna.
Ikenna.
Okay.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for this opportunity. The section is really insightful. Let me just talk about my background. I have a first degree in public health, 4.46. Then I just finished my master's in public health, also 4.43. I have my unofficial transcripts, and I'm interested in pursuing a PhD in clinical research, translational epidemiology, cancer research, or population health science. Now, I've looked at some schools, and I discovered that some of them want an official transcript, while some want an unofficial transcript. Considering the cost of sending official transcripts to schools. I wanted to know if I do WES evaluation, will the school accept WES evaluation as an official transcript, not a transcript sent directly from the school? So that's my main question, Doc.
Great question. So yes, I mean, I'm glad you asked that question. One of the beautiful things about WES is if you can do that WES evaluation, then they can start sending your, and I think it's cheap to send your results to whatever schools. Now, if you have 100 schools, you don't need to send original transcripts from your undergraduate institution directly anymore. So just contact WES and have them send your results to, or your transcripts, the evaluated one, to the school. So yes, if you do WES evaluation, you don't need to start sending original transcripts from your undergraduate institution anymore.
All right, thank you,
That
Doc.
really helps you, and in the long run, I think it saves money if you ask me.
It's and a lot of stress.
Right, and a lot, Nigerian universities. So yeah.
Thank you, Doc.
Question. So let's quickly go to, is Sunday here? No. All right. Alex.
Good evening, Doctor.
Right. Good evening, sir.
I'm glad to be here, even though I joined late. I'm happy to be here. So my question is this. I actually have a bachelor's degree in computer science, 4.15, and presently I'm doing my master's in computer science, hopefully to graduate with 4.82.
Okay.
And I want to, my area of research interest is artificial intelligence and machine learning. So, but one of my challenges is that I don't have any publication. And so I don't know, how is that going to affect me? Lack of publication, how is that going to affect me in any way?
Listen, your field is unique. I don't think you need publications for your field. What you need in your field, I mean, this is what I'm looking at here is good. And if you can get in here, you're going to really do well for yourself. And what I think you need to do is to package. So you have programming skills, right? You have computer skills. You have.
Yeah, I can program in Java very well, and Python, I have the basic skills in it. Computer science is my field. That's my field. Right. In fact, the artificial intelligence itself, machine learning, I have some skills in it.
Good. So now what you have to ask yourself is, how can you sell the fact that you have these skills? I know I mentioned someone, I think Shola even includes this. I think Shola did this, right? How you have a GitHub account. Open a GitHub account. I think it's free. There are some things, I think it's free. Then start doing some projects using the skills that you mentioned. I know having machine learning, artificial intelligence skills right now is like a huge thing in the US. So if you can package that, do some projects using some of these skills. I don't know what they look like exactly. I'm not a computer scientist, but you should know the kind of projects, the kind of ways you can tell someone that, you can do this, you know how to use these tools. So run projects using some of these tools. And I know GitHub account, you can, when you deposit this project, you can describe the project, the tools you use. So just put your GitHub account on your CV. And then whenever you write your statement of purpose or personal statements, you want to really, stress some of these tools and how you've been able to use them in the past and what you hope to learn and do in the future. So I think you have a good GPA. All you need to do is to show that you can use some of these tools. So one of the things I would recommend, if you don't have that right now, is to go and open a GitHub account and learn how to deposit projects or do projects on this platform. Okay.
Okay. Then secondly, sir, some of the schools in the US require GRE for my course.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, it's just not it wasn't long I started studying for the GRE. Even though I am so busy, I've not been having time to study well. So what is your advice to me on GRE, the requirement for GRE?
Yes, so one of the challenges for your field, because a lot of people are interested in CS, computer science. So your GRE, if they require GRE, they would require a good score, a high score. Okay. So
Okay,
I don't know, advice on GRE. I don't know how I can advise.
Okay.
What kind of advice do you want? Like how to study, how to, or it's been a long time I took GRE.
Okay,
so
I'll get myself.
Teach you the GRE right now.
Yes,
So
I'll get myself motivated.
Yeah,
and study. I will get myself motivated and study for it, sir.
Right. I mean, I don't know if I can motivate you to study, but think about what you are going to achieve if you get this done. Think about where you're going to be in the next 5 years. Let that motivate you to really put everything you have. I know, I mean, sleep is important, but for the next 3 months, if you're going to say, okay, I'm only going to sleep for 5 hours at night. Even people that are already in the US and doing PhDs right now, most of them don't even, they still do all the hard work. So I know sleep is important, but find ways to, maybe save some time there. But you still have to work to be able to fund some of these things. So yeah, you would have to sacrifice something. Could be part of your sleep to really get this done, right? And like I said, you do this and you get in with this, you in the next 5 years, you are making good money in Silicon Valley or somewhere.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Chinedu, are you here? All right, let's go to I'm gonna, so this is gonna be the last question. I'm so sorry, guys. So I think I'm gonna go to Innocent. But please feel free to email me and ask questions. So I'm gonna take one more question.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Dog. Yeah, that's Innocent.
Yes.
Please, I study in Ghana. I had BSc in Agric, but a very low GPA. So that's my first degree, 2.5. But I've managed to do postgraduate diploma in education, which helped me to join the teaching field in Ghana. And I had 3.45. And I did my MPhil in plant mutation breeding with I had a GPA of 3.34. My concern now is, do I need to write a GRE for not knowing very well I have a very low GPA in my first degree? I hope that will not affect me much when I'm looking for a position for PhD.
I mean, that would depend on the requirements of the institutions you are applying to. They don't need GREs, then I don't know if that will help. But if they say it's optional, maybe not needed but optional, sometimes they will say not required but optional, then it might help in your case because of your GPA. Then if you go to the website, WES.org, and do like a free evaluation of your GPA. So the minimum requirements for GPA for most programs is 3.0 out of 4. So if you do that WES evaluation, the free one on the website, and it's like close to over 3.0 out of 4, then it may be beneficial to do an official WES evaluation if you think. So yeah, undergrad GPAs can hurt, even if you, in some fields, even if you have a better GPA at a master's level. So if you evaluate, that might help you. But yeah, the requirements on GRE will depend on what the school wants. I can't blatantly tell you that.
Oh, okay. So, Doc, so if I get you right, it means the evaluation will probably maybe based on my first degree, not or other degree that I had after the first degree.
Yes, so it's on degree basis. So if you, let's say you have a bachelor's, they will evaluate that separately. The master's will be evaluated separately. I think that's how it works.
Okay. So another question. Last year, one professor in University of Florida gave me a go ahead to apply, but I made a mistake. But after the applications, I was not able to send him a message indicating that I've done the applications. So actually, the program coordinator waived the application fee for me. But later on, that was when the decision was made. According to the program coordinator, he said this year they had a low admission, and because of that, they've not considered my application. So I don't know is it because I've not informed the professor who gave me the go ahead to put in the application, or it's due to my GPA?
As long as you submit the application, they would obviously, doesn't matter if the professor puts it forward, everything goes into a pool. And I would think it's because of something in your, so usually when they get, let's say they get hundreds of applications, right? Each department will have ways of screening out, of reducing the number of applications they are going to consider fully. So maybe GPA was top of their list, which I think is unfair, but sometimes it's like that. So they may have, reduced or screened you out from that process. That's why it's important to apply to, multiple schools, because for some other schools, it might be other criteria. They might use other criteria to select people that will advance to the next stage of the application process. So I don't think it's because you did not reach out to the professor, though it will have, I don't know if it will have benefited you, but yeah, this time if you have that opportunity, just make sure you do diligence and to make sure we are sure that everything is in place.
Okay, another question. Will you advise me to go for what's the name? A scholarship that the professor wants to waive only the tuition fee? And the question is, there's one professor in Australia who I sent an email to, and he said he's ready to waive my tuition fee for me. Yes, sir.
I don't. Well, I don't know anything about the Australian process, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah, what I want to know, like for instance, if I'm able to get a similar situation in US, is it advisable to go without getting living allowance and then rent? So just according to their professor, he said he's going to pay off only the tuition fee, so that I should look for other expenses myself.
Guys, go ahead.
So my question in the US, will it be advisable? Because I'm also trying the scenario and see if I can.
So if they waive the tuition and it remains living expenses, right? Is that your question?
Yes. Yeah. That's my question.
I mean, it depends on the area, what you can do to. I mean, if they totally waive tuition, I believe that's a good deal. That's an okay, it's not a good deal, it's an okay deal, because you can work on campus to, fend for yourself, at least your rent, your whatever you're gonna eat. If you don't have any other fees to pay. But if you still have some tuition, there's no way you can work your way to paying tuition in the US. I mean, at least in my experience. So it's gonna be hard. But yeah, if you get that kind of deal, as long as you can scale through the other process like visas and everything. Because sometimes they will require you to show that you have the funds already for getting your I-20 and visa interview. Okay. So yeah, that's something to consider. But yeah, there are ways to fend for yourself when you get here.
No, okay. Thank you very much, Doc.
You're welcome. All right. One thing I do want to mention. So next month, we are going to talk about CVs and emails. And of course, we will have other speakers here that have really done some incredible work with their CV, how they, sold some of their unusual skills. And I'm going to show examples. We are going to walk through everything. And then, of course, you can ask questions. But really, I have to go right now. The website. So someone said, can I get the link? If it prints niche again. So it's biorxiv.org. So that's it. We are going to end now because I really have to go. But please, if we didn't get to your questions, I apologize for that. If you can just send me an email right now, I would still be able to address it within the next 30 minutes, but I really have to leave it right now.
Sir, please, can we get a recording for this section?
Yes, it's going to, when I render it might take some time, but yes, definitely it's going to be up and publicly available. I'll send an email when it's ready. Okay?
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Hopefully we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.